And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Talking about drug legalization, and we'll talk a little bit more about whether or not you want the feds to take your guns. Before that, more of your phone calls. We love it when you join the conversation so quickly. Brian in Nampa, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller.
Hey there, Kevin.
Hey there, Brian. How are you?
I'm good. The hemp, is that still a federally controlled substance?
The feds have legalized it, yes.
Okay. So I don't have a problem with hemp, but I don't have a problem with alcohol and tobacco because I use it appropriately. I would love to have hemp clothing, but I don't do drugs. My biggest question was, is it legally federally? Because we know that, you go try to purchase a firearm, and if you use a controlled substance, they can get you on that one. So that's my biggest question. Whether it's a gateway drug, there is a little bit of speculation of whether or not, it's hard to tell the difference, and unless it's in clothes form. But, yeah, that's the only question I have.
Wait a minute. You've done a lot of stuff with the criminals and stuff. Don't really the majority of the criminal endeavors start with the dope, with the pot, with the drugs?
With alcohol, marijuana, something like that, yeah. I mean, you could even say they initially started at a very young age with cigarettes. So I don't know where you go with that one. I've never smoked. Have I had secondhand smoke? Yeah, but it really comes down to are you going to fall for this or not? And my son just went to the ER twice because he had too much antibiotics, and he either had a seriously reaction to a particular antibiotic or his immune system was compromised to it. So I don't know. Like I said, I would love hemp clothing, but I've never had a drug problem. And for clothing, it rocks, but for anything else, I don't want it. So, and if it's a controlled substance, I don't want it because I don't want to lose my Second Amendment rights.
Right.
And
so you're saying personally, you would have no problem with legalization of hemp and or marijuana here?
Not marijuana. No. Nope. See, that's a controlled substance.
See, but you're a smart guy. Don't you see they're all one and the same?
Yeah, but it's kind of like tobacco. I mean, I don't smoke, but I know if you break your nose or you had surgery, they used to pack your nose with tobacco. They used to help bring the inflammation down. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you want to say, you can use hemp for clothing, but nothing else, I'd be all for that.
Right.
Because it is great for a material, just in the material sense, if that makes sense. So if they said, hey, we're going to grow it and we're going to make clothing with it or cloth like we do cotton, and that's the only thing we can use it for, and anything else other than that, I'd love it. I can't. I don't know how else to say it, but as soon as you get into marijuana, now you're talking about a controlled substance, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah, and as soon as you get into that controlled substance, that's the gotcha. And that's where I'm like, and that's why I stay away from the hemp, even the hemp clothing, because I don't want somebody coming up to me and saying, you got a controlled substance. So I don't have an easy answer. I do like it for clothing. I would love that fact, but I don't want to get hooked on a controlled substance catch. So,
well, like I said, they make it legal, and then all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. I mean, Brian, you're a smart guy, right? Hold on, Brian, you're a smart guy, right? Hold on, let me set this up for you, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to have you respond to something about what happens in states where they legalize marijuana.
Wasted, fried, baked, toasted. Which brings us to the question, does teen use of marijuana increase in states where it's been legalized? Well, in minors in Colorado and Washington, use is both higher than and rising faster than the national average. In fact, over a 2-year period, marijuana use in Colorado 7th graders increased by 96%. But hey, the good news is cigarette use has declined. Yay.
There you go. That's from our friends at keepidaho.org. Your thoughts, your reaction.
My reaction, again, if you just use this clothing, I don't have a problem with it. As soon as, if you legalize marijuana, which is a controlled substance, no, because then you're losing all your rights. And it's that simple. I mean, we try to make things more complex. And people abuse stuff all the time. It's like you had a caller call in the other day and say, you know, I think it was pro-life called in and said, yeah, we should allow criminals to get their rights back. And the guy called in and said, you know, no, he's crazy, shouldn't do that. I hate to tell both of them, the criminals you really need to worry about, they got a gun, and whether it's legal or not. They already got a gun. And if they're going to use it incorrectly for killing somebody or trying to rob somebody, they already got it, and they're going to do it again. And you ain't going to stop that. The only way you're going to stop that is by you having a gun and you intimidating them and them not believing that you're a victim that they can push over. And that's all I got. Marijuana is in Idaho. I myself have been on my dad's own property. A guy across the river would sneak over across where the deer used to crawl into the brush in eastern Idaho, and I found a whole bunch of marijuana plants and tore them up and threw them in the river and called my uncle, who was the sheriff, and reported it. And that was 20 years ago. It's here. Is it legal? No, I don't want that legal. But if I've got a farmer that's growing hemp to make clothes, I'm okay with that.
I don't think a lot of people are going to be making clothes with hemp.
Well, you can buy hemp clothing online. I know that. The only reason I haven't did it is because I was afraid of losing my Second Amendment right.
Brian, we appreciate you. Thank you, brother.
You bet.
All right, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Kevin Miller in the morning here. So we've got a situation in New Zealand going on right now. You've heard about the tragedy there. Well, the person in charge in New Zealand, the Prime Minister, has declared a national emergency, talking about taking away the firearms. Here's our own Simon Owen with the very latest on KIDO Talk Radio.
New Zealand's Prime Minister saying the country's history changed forever last Friday, and now its gun laws will too. Jacinda Ardern announcing a ban on what she called military-style semi-automatic weapons, along with assault rifles and high-capacity magazines.
I absolutely believe there will be a common view amongst New Zealanders that the time for the mass and easy availability of these weapons must end.
She said anyone who already owns an affected weapon will be required to surrender it and will be compensated by the government. Simon Owen, Fox News.
So that doesn't seem bad. You just surrender your firearm, right? You just surrender your firearm because some crazed, mentally deranged individual, who, by the way, purchased his weapons legally, did a horrific act. Well, unfortunately, in America today, there are a lot of horrific acts. In America today, there are people that go into schools, churches, synagogues, mosques, and attack. Could you see people, a lib, all of a sudden saying after a national attack, a national emergency, saying, I'm going to take your guns? How would you feel about that one? Here is New Zealand Police Commissioner Mike Bush speaking about, well, wanting to take your guns.
People who were, prior to 3 p.m., lawfully in possession of firearms such as semi-automatic assault rifles are no longer lawfully in possession of those firearms.
My goodness gracious. And as we get ready to debate giving 18 to 21-year-olds the freedom to conceal carry in the great state of Idaho, in the beautiful state of Idaho, we have countries, because of one incident, declaring weapons, semi-automatics illegal. How many of you remember the old assault weapons ban? How did that work out? And for everybody that says we need to take the guns, how about we start with the illegal guns that the criminals have, that don't have permits, that don't go through the licensing, that use them to prey on victims, whether we're talking here or in the city of Chicago, Illinois. This is scary stuff. You can't tell me that some lib somewhere isn't salivating about possibly doing the same thing here.
The time for the mass and easy availability of these weapons must end.
And people say, you know, even Beta O'Rourke saying, well, you know something? The military created these guns, the AR-15s. The military did this to learn how to kill people. And really, the government should decide who has the guns and who doesn't have the guns. And you don't really need an AR-15. You don't need an AR-15. You know, you just need a musket. Because the Founding Fathers are dopes. The Founding Fathers didn't know the idea that you'd have... Now, those that love the states' rights, we're probably all about it. And you take a look at this, the media is lapping this story up.
We will, as a cabinet, work through legalised exemptions for these purposes, but they will be tightly regulated.
Right. They're actually taking people's guns. Now, we can say we live in a peaceful society. We don't need the guns. We'll tell that to the recent victim, the young lady who was beaten, stabbed, and almost died by somebody, 4 people, one with a knife, one with a bottle. Guns are the great equalizer. Guns are as American as we are. But let your heart not be troubled. They're coming for us. Let's go to the phones. Blair in Boise. Good morning. Thanks for waking up on the right side. KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Blair.
Every morning. Hey, I have a question. In that New Zealand thing, wasn't it an individual citizen that ran off the perp in that one with a firearm?
Right. He did. Credited with saving lives.
So how is taking guns out of the hands of private citizens going to make people safer? He saved lives by interrupting that guy, and now they're going to confiscate the weapons that were used to save people's lives. This sounds to me like the epitome of a knee-jerk reaction.
And Blair, you can't tell me that Tlaib, Cortez, Schumer, Pelosi aren't looking for something like that to add to their playbook here?
Well, they've already tried it. I mean, Virginia Tech, or, San Bernardino, or the Florida nightclub shooting, or Sandy Hook, or Columbine, or, the list goes on and on. They've tried it every single time, never let a good emergency go to waste, right? The question is whether or not the people of the United States are going to recognize that the defensive use of firearms is the only thing that's going to stop the offensive use of firearms.
Great point. I would agree with you. What do you think though? This week on Time Magazine, they feature Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the phenom, the this, the that. I mean, Blair, we used to laugh at people that loved socialism. We used to laugh at people that said English should be optional. We used to laugh, and our humor has become, unfortunately, our nightmare, our reality.
Well, all I can say is let's wait a couple of months, because the FEC, the Federal Election Commission, is investigating Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for misuse of campaign finances right now. Apparently her campaign finance manager redirected more than $1 million worth of funds to personal accounts and things like that. So, she may not be a factor very much longer. As to Tlaib and Omar, I think it's a disappointing commentary on the United States that those two ever got elected. Number one, because they're actors. They were hired by the Young Turks to run for those positions. They are not legitimate legislators. And number two, they advance an ideology which is completely foreign to constitutional law. I think it's a very dangerous state of affairs that we are in, and my only hope is that with the exposure of these extremely radical viewpoints coming from all these Democratic presidential contenders, that people will wake up to reality. And all I've got to say for somebody who is into socialism is go stay for a while in a country who has socialism. I did. They're not great countries to live in. And anybody who, idealizes that state really needs to go and live in one of those countries and try it out just to see what they're really getting into. And I mean, there's always the grass is greener on the other side mentality, and this is a classic case of it.
Blair, thank you.
Every morning, Kevin, I listen to you, and I really appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. 2 Fly hang on. You're next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
Thank you for coming to Brookline. I have a short question. If in a few months from now the Supreme Court looks like I'm pretty scared it's going to, a court that would overturn Roe and make the president above the rule of law, what is to be done?
I think that we take back the House, we take back the Senate, we take back the presidency, and we pack the Supreme Court of the United States of America. Next. No, thank you. It's an important question.
There we have it. How at 29 and a bartender and full of so much youth and life experience and success, have we not had somebody like her telling us how to live our lives? Good morning, Kevin Miller with us. That's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, basically saying they're going to pack the Supreme Court. Good luck with that. Let's go to Two Fly Bry, who joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Two Fly Bry.
Well, that certainly is a different kind of topic, but still we're in the half hour of all things hemp and firearms and stuff, which to me, Kevin, you seem to be counter against what our founding fathers have qualified, and that is limited government and controlling us and telling us what we can use. On one hand, you're saying, hey, you're all, we should be able to have our firearms. On the other hand, you're saying you don't want us to be able to have plants and stuff like that, and the government should control that. I actually do disagree. Do I want, marijuana being strewn around Idaho all over the place? No, I would prefer not that, but it comes back to more where the morality of our country is at and why we're seeing that. And in a lot of places, I would even say the government, because of their intrusiveness and tyranny and oppression they're putting on us now, well, that's driving people to want to get out of the way of that and go into a different reality and let's go get high or something like that. Anyway, I think I know you taught. I don't know what your subject was, whether it was English or history, but maybe you can correct me. But as I look at the history books and what there's things that says Washington used hemp and stuff like that, and some of the other founding fathers, and they weren't too much worried about what's going on as far as plants being grown and whatnot. Except they went ahead and did the Whiskey Rebellion thing and quelled that down. I think that was wrong for them to have done. Anyway, that's where I'm at. I would like to see him come in. At minimum, into use as an agricultural product. You can make great paper out of it and other products.
Does the Constitution and the Bill of Rights give us the right to own hemp?
Our state constitution does. Article 1, Section 1, we have the right to acquire.
The federal government.
They're actually restricted from regulating.
However,
things as far as
it does guarantee
concerned.
us the right to keep and bear arms, Brian.
Well, that's an explicit, but then there's
when you say I'm being hypocritical,
well,
I'm just pointing it out, and I did teach American history briefly.
Okay.
However, that's my answer to your point. One says you can keep and bear arms. The other says I don't see anything about hemp in there.
Well, then you're going along the realm of what California is doing. California Supreme Court recently issued a finding that says basically if it doesn't explicitly say we can't do anything about this, as far as the Constitution, then we can regulate it to the snot bill we can. And that's basically saying we can control your life to the nth degree as long as we don't explicitly violate. That was exactly in the phrasing of the wording, by the way, that we're going to interpret what it says as far as the California Constitution is concerned.
So now you're comparing me with the folks in California. No, I'm just saying I'm a simple guy. I read the Bill of Rights. You can keep and bear arms. I don't see where it says hemp. And by the way, you're legalizing something that is illegal. And my point about hemp is this. Unless you work with law enforcement, unless you find a way to determine the difference between hemp and marijuana, you're going to have big issues. And I think this bill should be pulled until you find a way to determine the difference between hemp and marijuana. Then you can run wild and free with the hemp.
Well, we need to first find a way to discern between whether someone's aware of what's moral and what's not to do. But because of that, the government can't legislate morality, trying to pickpocket all these things.
I disagree with you. The government does legislate morality.
Well, it's like telling me what I can and can't do.
Right.
On a given day.
You can't you can't rob people. You can't assault people.
No. That would be invading their personal rights.
Right.
Something
that would be morality.
Correct.
So the government. So for everybody who says the government can't legislate morality, it does.
Well, no. What it legislates is the outcome of violating the morality in that way.
Thus legislating. I've got to run, but thank you. Anything else quickly?
No, have a great day, sir. Love talking, listening to you on the radio and all.
We love you too, Flyby. Take care.
Take care.
All right, bye-bye. And I'm Kevin Miller. Let's find out what's happening in your world. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
And coming up, much more about the Supreme Court, hemp versus marijuana, and the Stop Socialism Express right here with Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio, out to New York, Fox News Radio, exclusively in the Treasure Valley, on KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Folks, since we were talking earlier about marijuana and hemp, let's light up a doobie commemorating the 50th anniversary of Woodstock.
I'll be honest, I did not know where you were going with that.
Neither did I.
Okay, well, you managed to pull it off. Good job.
Yes, the story of my life. That's my mission statement. Somehow you managed to pull it off. So today, the big day, 50th anniversary of the lineup being announced, where a lot of people did a lot of things, and personal hygiene most likely was not followed as well as it is today.
No, I don't think so. It will be quite different when they have the Woodstock 50 Music Festival as opposed to the original one. I dare say there will be things like, parking and Wi-Fi at this one, where that's, was both of those are in short supply at the original one in 1969. But the lineup is pretty cool. There's a lot of stars that are pretty huge music stars now. And then you've also got this nice little generational sort of bridge with the ones, some of them who originally performed at Woodstock in 69. They're also going to perform at the 50th anniversary festival.
What, with their walkers?
I don't know. But, if some of them want to get out there and jam out with their walker, I'm okay with it. I'm not really, I'm not opposed to how they get on the stage. It's
Sure. I'm with you to a degree, but, we take what are the music acts that what is, and here I go, I sound like a codger, but what is really music today? Mostly it's created by computers, is it not? I mean, you have country music. In my day, well before yours, we used to call it country and western. However, you had real people playing real instruments. Today, it's and the synthesizer.
I would argue that it kind of depends on the genre, and I think that there's a lot more, freshness to music now than there was, probably in some of the '90s music that we heard. I think. As far as country, yeah, I can still remember the days of Countrypolitan. So,
Sure, but I just don't see people like classic bands. Like whether you're talking about a hair band like Bon Jovi or Nirvana or Coldplay or whomever. I don't see any young people doing that these days. Now, again, I'm sure I'm missing something, but where are they?
Well, I mean, the ones that they have lined up for this festival are pretty huge. You know, among the ones that are hot right now, you've got Miley Cyrus, Chance the Rapper, Jay-Z is going to headline one day. Imagine Dragons.
They're not bands.
No, I mean they're. Well, Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats is a band.
Who?
You know, they're pretty huge.
They're right
Robert
there with.
Plant
They're
is
right.
going to be there with his band.
Bottle Plant.
Robert.
Robert
You may have
Plant.
heard of him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
He sounds familiar.
Sure, but it proves my point, though. I'm saying, like, again, you would have bands, and you know, whether it was the Beatles or the Monkees or Nirvana or Kiss or whomever. I don't see the young bands these days.
Well, I mean, there are some. It's just, I think that is an interesting point.
You know,
That
where's not a surf?
I don't even know how to answer that question. I mean, you have a lot of individual artists that are going to perform at this one, which is, again, that's you're talking about artists that are pretty huge right now, and they've also got artists that played the original, Woodstock, which I think is also kind of cool.
Yeah, if you say so.
You don't sound like you're signed on to be there at Watkins Glen in August, there, Kevin.
Yeah, I don't really travel east of the Great River much anymore.
Well, but you should. There's just a lot of things over here to see.
Been there, done that. You've seen one
Wow.
rock concert and smelled the marijuana. You've been to them all.
You've seen them all.
Yeah, I went to some pretty rad shows back in the day. Debbie Gibson, Tiffany, ABBA.
That's true.
If they had ABBA there, I'd be impressed. I'm sure they care if I'm impressed or not, but
You're not going to come to New York to see David Crosby and Friends?
no, I'm sure the president won't be coming there either. I don't know. You go back to the magic of the event, and not to wax on too much about this, but Woodstock, it was an organic thing, and then they, what was it, 25 years they tried to do it, and now, gosh darn it, everything is just so commercialized, and I understand it, but I mean, Jay-Z's going to be there? Okay, he's a brilliant man. He's a talented guy. He's a worldwide mogul. Very different from 50 years ago when, people just organically came there,
Yeah, I mean, I see your point. It was one of those things where they did, line up talent ahead of time. They didn't all just show up to volunteer to play. I mean, some of them were paid, pretty well, I guess, at the time for that. I mean, Jimi Hendrix made $15,000, $18,000, I think, for his performance.
Dude, that's Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, but Joe Cocker made $1,300. I mean, so it wasn't, it didn't. Everybody didn't make tons of money, and I guarantee you, though, the people who are attending this one would probably be okay with some of the modern upgrades as long as it includes a bathroom, which I'm pretty sure the first one didn't really have, as good a facility as this one will have.
And yes, and we'll just leave it at that, madam. Tanya J. Powers, my Shockers won last night. I was very excited.
Oh, I wanted to ask you about that. Nice shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Who would have thought at 51 that's my business casual?
I did not see that coming, I'll be honest with you.
Neither did I. Thank you, ma'am. I'm getting something's beeping here. I've gone on too long, so thank you.
All right, no problem.
Our great friend Tanya J. Powers joining us. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Okay, let's reset. We were talking about marijuana legalization, hemp. Coming up also, New Zealand has taken the guns of its citizens. I'd love to get your thoughts on that at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. But I love these comments, these public service announcements, these commercials from keepidaho.org. By the way, both Channel 7 and The Statesman tried so hard to look into this group, Drug Free Idaho, and you know what they found? Their ads are correct. You know what they found? They're telling the truth. You know what they found? They're credible.
Hello from the Office of Transparency. You know the phrase looks good enough to eat, but when it comes to cookies and candies containing potent levels of THC from marijuana edibles, the results are not very appetizing. In Colorado, marijuana poisonings are up 108% since legalization, and 206% among children 0 to 8 years old. Can we talk about this?
There we have it, keepidaho.org. That's one topic. The other one, we've moved on a bit at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, is what happened in New Zealand. The tragic shooting, so many people killed at the mosque. Now you have the chief operating officer, the president, the prime minister, whatever you want to call her, has declared a national emergency and has decided to take the guns because it wasn't the crazed, deranged lunatic who, in fact, went after those people. It was the guns that did it. It's you know how it is. If we take away the guns, bad things are not going to happen to us. Right, Simon Owen?
3 days after an attacker opened fire on a tram in the Dutch city of Utrecht, killing 3 people and injuring another 5, prosecutors saying a man detained the same day is to be charged with murder with a terrorist intent. They say they're investigating whether Gökmen Tanis, a 37-year-old born in Turkey, acted as a result of, quote, personal problems combined with a radicalised ideology. He's also expected to have a psychological examination. In London, Simon Owen, Fox News.
You know, when people say that our criminal justice system is slanted, and to a degree it is, if you have big money, you get better lawyers, you get better representation. It's like flying an airline. The criminal justice system is like flying an airline. You know, if you can afford it, first class is a lot better than coach. Do you know some airlines now, you can't pick your seat? Hey, here you go. It's going to cost you $100 to go from here to there. Man, that's a long flight. Yeah, but you're only going to pay $100. Oh, good. I'd like to pick my seat. No, you're in the back. Dude, it's like a closet here. Yeah, you're only paying $100. Now, if you want to spend the money, you can go to economy, economy plus, first class. Or no, there's business class, first class. And what do you get? You get a seat that you can fit in. Just like the criminal justice system. You get a lawyer that knows the judges. You get a lawyer that knows what they're doing. You don't get somebody out of law school. Right? And when we talk about compassion, here we are. We're going to try and figure out what this loony did. And in reality, he just needs to go. And let me apologize in advance talking about Timmy Kenner. You know, we're supporting him, his lawyers, to give him a defense. He just needs to go. Yes, reasonable doubt. Yes, proof of innocence. Innocent still proven guilty. But the idea that an individual can be so filled with hate that he can do what he did to that 3-year-old little girl, viciously harm other people, have the audacity to want to change his name, and the state has determined through its compassion that he is not competent enough to stand trial to be held accountable for his actions. And here in New Zealand, you've got people going, well, we're going to find out why he flipped out and killed the folks at the mosque, the Muslims. Sometimes people are just nuts. And the big question is, do you trust? And again, we love law enforcement. They can't be everywhere. Do you trust yourself, a neighbor, or anyone else to protect you against the threats? Or do you trust the state? Here's the gun ban issue. Sorry, Simon Owen, KIDO Talk Radio.
New Zealand's Prime Minister saying the country's history changed forever last Friday, and now its gun laws will too. Jacinda Ardern announcing a ban on what she called military-style semi-automatic weapons, along with assault rifles and high-capacity magazines.
I absolutely believe there will be a common view amongst New Zealanders that the time for the mass and easy availability of these weapons must end.
She said anyone who already owns an affected weapon will be required to surrender it and will be compensated by the government. Simon Owen, Fox News.
There you have it. Doesn't that sound reasonable? Doesn't that sound fun? And have you noticed with the devious little libs, everything is an assault rifle? Everything is an assault rifle. Hey, I got my shotgun. That's an assault rifle. Hey, I've got this. That's an assault rifle. Hey, I've got that. You know, our friend Bruce emailing, I'm so tired of people saying the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment did not refer to muskets. He's right about that. Firearms, the right to keep and bear arms. It didn't say muskets. It didn't say banning semi-automatic weapons. It allowed the people to decide. And today, we have a government, a Western government, saying we're going to take your firearms.
People who were prior to 3 p.m. lawfully in possession of firearms such as semi-automatic assault rifles are no longer lawfully in possession of those firearms.
They're coming to take your guns. Can you tell me that a President Pelosi, Schumer, or Cortez would not declare a national emergency after a tragedy to take your guns? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Join the conversation now with me, Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Thank you, Sean Hannity. Appreciate it. By the way, repeating our top story, another artist has been added to the Boise Music Festival. Remember, earlier we told you about Pitbull coming. Pitbull. Is there anybody bigger than the Pitbull, right? Pitbull will be appearing at the Boise Music Festival. Now, back by popular demand, the Eli Young Band returns to the Boise Music Festival. That's right. You remember, what was it, 1-2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago? They literally came in and stole the show. So they're back in Adam, and they're very excited to be coming back to the Treasure Valley. Remember, the Boise Music Festival is June 22nd. Tickets are on sale now. You can listen to your favorite radio stations around the Treasure Valley to find out how you can win tickets. Go to BoiseMusicFestival.com for the very latest. Remember, general admission tickets, $25. Cool Zone tickets, $98, and it goes on and on and on. Very excited about that. Big announcement here on KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Recently, Laura Ingraham had this to say concerning the state of things in America, and why not share it on your home for Fox News Valley. KIDO Talk Radio.
That would never happen under Trump. They said it was pie in the sky. I'm not trying to pigpile on you, but I'm actually curious about how you run against this economy, and what this seems to be is ICE is racist, the founders were racist, the Electoral College is racist, Trump's racist. I mean, it's just kind of all racist. And I think if everything's racist, then it's nothing's racist, because real racism is diminished. And I wonder, as just a strategy, how that actually works. This could go down, I guess, as an incredibly smart strategy, and I'll be wrong, or it could be, oh my God, whoever came up with this socialism thing, it really just killed our only chance to beat Donald Trump, because this is the guy who they have to defeat, right? Matt, well, they don't defeat Trump this time. I don't know. These people. I'm worried about the health and safety of some of the people on the left.
You would agree with me, though, but if Trump is the focus, and some of Trump's tweets, which maybe people don't like, and some of his, some of his eccentricities as a politician they don't like, if that's the focus, they feel like they'll have a better chance. But instead, they're making the focus be this radical agenda.
Well, I would say Trump has also brought a lot of this on himself with the things he's done, like the way he reacted to the Charlottesville riots, or when he made the S-hole countries remark.
Do you think anyone's voting on that? And really,
I think a lot of people.
Right. Do you think anybody's really voting on that? It really comes down to your wallet, your pocketbook, and you have folks in the media, in politics, actually cheering for the economy to go down. I remember Barack Obama's economy. I remember, and you remember, Barack Obama's economy. It wasn't the breadlines, but it was darn close to it, right? At 580-5436. We're living in a world where the economy is great right now. We're all having a good time. We're all working 2 or 3 jobs, but we're still all having a good time. In comparison to what it was, there is no area in the country that greater identifies how improved our economy is under President Trump than under Barack Obama. Very simply, take a look at the building, take a look at the wages, take a look at the growth. The Treasure Valley has benefited by the economic recovery. We didn't have that under Obama. We didn't have that under Clinton. George Bush, unfortunately, he stayed too long, and boom, it blew out on him. And is Donald Trump perfect? No. But as Laura Ingraham said, everything is racist. You get tired. You get tired of, our lives have then turned into a giant episode of Seinfeld. You remember the episode of Seinfeld where Jerry had to apologize for saying things innocently, but it was construed as being offensive. That's what our world has become today. Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld were brilliant when they came up with that script. Everything he did was offensive. That's like today. Everything is racist. Everything is offensive. What's the solution? Stay with us, and we'll figure it out together. Can't wait to hear what you have to say next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.